Today, we're diving into a play that totally turned the Victorian marriage on its head, George Bernard Shaw's Candida. This is a story that asks a pretty radical question about where the real power in a relationship truly lies.
Right from the get-go, the play hits you with this timeless dilemma. It forces a choice between security and passion, between the comfortable life you have and the one you could have. What would you do?
All right, so let's meet the woman right at the center of all this. Her name's Candida, and if you were to just look at her life from the outside, you'd think she has it all. I mean, a picture-perfect marriage to a successful, influential man.
On paper, their life is the absolute Victorian ideal. You've got her husband, the Reverend Morel, who's a pillar of the community, a famous speaker, and Candida is the graceful, supportive wife by his side. Their entire world seems to be built on his strength and his stellar reputation.
But you know how these stories go. That stable, perfect world? Yeah, it's about to get completely turned upside down. An unexpected rival shows up, and he could not be more different from the husband she knows. And here they are, the two men vying for her heart. It's a total clash of worlds. On one side, you have Reverend Morel. He's 40, a man of public strength and moral conviction. On the other side, Eugene Marchbanks, a shy 18-year-old poet who is all about raw, unfiltered emotion and honestly sees Candida as his savior.
So things really kick off when this quiet young poet does something incredibly bold, something shocking. He makes a declaration, and he makes it directly to his rival. I mean, can you imagine the nerve? It's stunning. With these words, Marchbanks doesn't just confess his love, he declares war on Morel's entire world, his marriage, his values, his whole self-image. He's pretty much saying, you are not good enough for her.
And Morel's reaction? He's so sure of his wife's love that he almost laughs it off. He agrees to let Candida choose between them because he's absolutely confident his marriage is rock solid, and this kid doesn't stand a chance. Okay, so Morel thinks this is an open and shut case, but the challenge forces everyone to take a closer look, and as they do, the carefully constructed illusion of Morel's strength starts to crumble.
You have to understand, this guy's entire identity is built on being the strong one. He's the powerful speaker, the moral guide, the man who protects and provides for his loving and, he assumes, dependent wife.
And this is where it gets really interesting. Candida steps in and just completely flips the script. She reveals that his so-called strength isn't really his own at all. It's a product of her constant and pretty much invisible support.
She explains everything. His public image, his success as a speaker, his entire life is basically a performance that she carefully manages from behind the curtain. She pampers him, protects him from his own weaknesses, and lets him believe he's the master of the house, when in her own words, he does not know it.
So all of this builds up to the climax of the play, the big moment where the two men, now totally confused, demand that Candida finally make her choice, right then and there.
And she agrees, but she turns it into this kind of auction for her heart. Each man has to make his pitch. Morel offers exactly what a Victorian husband should, his strength, his security. And Marchbanks, he offers the complete opposite, his vulnerability and his desperate need for her.
And then, just when you think you know where this is going, Candida lays out her terms for the decision. And her criteria, well, it's not what anyone expects, and it leaves both men completely baffled. Right now, everyone, including Morel, and probably everyone in the audience, is thinking, okay, it's gotta be the frail, emotional 18-year-old poet, right? I mean, it seems obvious. But no, in this brilliant and deeply psychological twist, she looks at both of them and declares that her husband, the great and powerful Reverend Morel, is actually the weaker of the two. And her reasoning is just fascinating. She says the young poet, Eugene, has his art and his dreams. He can survive without her. But her husband, Morel, would completely fall apart. He's totally dependent on her care and her management just to function.
So you see, her choice is about so much more than just love or romance. It's this huge, profound statement on society, marriage, and all the hidden power dynamics that are going on just beneath the surface.
Shaw was famous for this kind of thing. He's using the story as what's called a problem play. He's not just trying to entertain you, he's using the drama to tackle what was known back then as the woman question, forcing his audience to rethink the traditional roles of men and women.
Candida powerfully suggests that true strength and weakness aren't at all what they seem on the surface. It exposes the whole idea of male superiority as a fragile myth, and it shows that the home, the domestic sphere, is actually a major battlefield of ideas, where the real power is often held by the person who seems to have none at all.
And that leaves us with the big question Shaw wants you to walk away with. Was her choice a selfless act of love for the man who needed her most? Or was it a calculated, masterful decision to maintain her quiet, essential position of power? It's a question that, honestly, feels just as relevant today as it did back then.